Cast Underworld Breach. Crack LED, discarding wheel. Good game? That might be what you hear when the game ends, but what's actually going on behind the scenes? Welcome back to Better Know a Combo, brought to you by the Spike Feeders. So how does it work? Great question. Underworld Breach is an enchantment for 1 and a red that reads, each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. We'll start out with it and Lion's Eye Diamond on the battlefield and Wheel of Fortune in hand. Discard my hand to activate Lion's Eye Diamond, making 3 red mana. Remember that wheel that was in my hand? It's in my graveyard now, alongside a few other cards. As long as I have a minimum of 3 other cards in my graveyard to pay for the additional escape cost, I can use the 3 mana I just made to cast Wheel of Fortune from my graveyard. When the wheel resolves, I'll discard my already empty hand and draw a fresh grip of 7 cards. I can exile another 3 cards from my graveyard to cast the Lion's Eye Diamond. Now I'm back to where I started, and I'm ready to crack the Lion's Eye Diamond again to fuel the breach. This combo doesn't net mana, but it's a great way to get your library out of the way to win via Thassa's Oracle, Jace Wielder of Mysteries, or Laboratory Maniac. You can also use the discards to ping people to death with Brallin's Skyshark Rider or Niv-Mizzet Perun. If you don't have a Wheel of Fortune, you can sub in Windfall if at least one other person at the table has 6 or more cards in hand. Doing this can be a little dicey because each iteration of the loop involves giving people a fresh grip of cards. If your opponents can collectively change the number of cards in their hand at instant speed, it's very possible you'll run out of gas before you run out of library. This sounds awesome, but how can people interact? Let's take a look at the combo and talk about the ways you can interact at the times you receive priority. We'll start by casting Underworld Breach. Counter magic is more effective here than it will be at any future point in the combo. After the Underworld Breach is on the battlefield, its controller is going to have access to any counter magic that's already in their graveyard, so firing it off now isn't a terrible idea. If you've got an instant speed way to mess with their graveyard, like Endurance from Modern Horizons 2, you're going to stop them right in their tracks. Lion's Eye Diamond is a mana ability, so after the breach resolves and enters the battlefield, you won't get priority again until after they've activated it and used the mana to cast Wheel of Fortune. With the wheel on the stack, your best bet is to remove the Underworld Breach, but you can also counter the wheel. Even if they've got counter magic in the graveyard, you might be able to force something through at this point because they'll need to maintain 3 cards in their graveyard to recast the Lion's Eye Diamond, and another 3 to recast the Wheel of Fortune. You can also flash in anything that will prevent the controller from drawing cards, like a Hull Breacher or a Notion Thief. After the wheel resolves, everyone draws a fresh hand of 7 cards, and it's time for them to recast Lion's Eye Diamond. This is another opportunity for counter magic, or to remove cards from their graveyard. Even something like Noxious Revival will buy you another turn to dig for a better answer. After the Lion's Eye Diamond resolves, they're ready to start the loop again. Just a quick note here, if you do successfully counter the wheel, it'll end up in their graveyard, and if they have another 3 cards, they can try it again. That's going to be true for most counter magic, but if you happen to have a delay, it'll exile the Wheel of Fortune instead of putting it in its controller's graveyard. Sometimes you're not playing reactive spells like that, and you want to be proactive to ensure this combo doesn't even get off the ground. How can we prevent this combo from happening in the first place? We've got to shut them down. This combo requires its controller to activate an ability of an artifact. Karn the Great Creator, Null Rod, and Collector Oof are great ways to say no to that. It also requires its controller to draw so many cards. You can prevent people from doing that with Spirit of the Labyrinth. Effects that prevent people from casting more than 1 spell per turn are especially effective against this combo. Rule of Law and Deafening Silence are a great way to shut this down. You can also slam on the brakes by playing Graveyard Hate. Kunaros, Hound of Athreos, and Grafdigger's Cage will prevent the controller from casting anything from their graveyard. and Rest in Peace and Leyline of the Void will prevent cards from even getting there. Finally, do not sleep on Void Mirror. This new card from Modern Horizons 2 shuts down any loops involving Lion's Eye Diamond. Well, that just about does it for this episode of Better Know a Combo. If you have a combo you'd like to see explained, be sure to let us know in the comments below, and make sure you check back soon for another episode of the Spike Feeders. Hey, thank you for checking out the Spike Feeders on YouTube. If you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that subscribe button before you close the window, or you can click on this link to check out our other great videos.